Everybody, my name's Alexa, and I really got into the KonMari method 3 years ago. And I wanted to share why I'm not really thrilled about the Netflix series. But having said that, I haven't watched the Netflix series. I basically haven't felt the desire to watch the Netflix series. So I wanted to share why that is. And I think ultimately it is a testament to how effective the method is. As I got into the KonMari method, the first thing I said, and I've said this in a few videos, is when I read the book, which I discovered through a Life Hacker article, I devoured it. I was moved to do a little Amazon review, and I said, if this is the kind of thing you like, this is the book you were waiting for. And it really was true. So I devoured it, and then I started, after a few weeks, posting some of my progress on YouTube and finding a lot of support, and other people were posting their progress. And really, and I did one tweak to the method, which was, even though I followed her categories and the order of categories, I also tended to kind of go room by room in my house. And it took a long time. It took 6 months or more. And you can see all the videos, you can see the progress. But, it's kind of amazing to look back and see how much has changed, because there were just massive, massive changes, massive pieces of furniture that were removed from the house, and, a massive opening of awareness of just a lot of beliefs that I had, that we all have, at least in the United States, probably, around furniture that you must have in a given room. And there's actually no rule or law that says you have to have certain furniture in a certain room. You can do whatever you want. And so I started to sort of open my mind to that concept, get rid of, some just enormous furniture that had been given to us, and was just taking up so much space. And I just love the resultant emptiness. And one thing I've said it again and again is that since I started the KonMari method, my house has gotten bigger and bigger. And so it's just so big now. And that is just a result of, opening up the rooms and really thinking about how I used each room, and thinking about, bottom line, what sparks joy, and getting rid of the things that don't, and saying thank you to them, and trying to be more conscious. Now, I won't say that I became a reformed consumer and completely stopped unnecessary spending. I also won't say that I achieved minimalism, but I definitely adopted minimalism as a frame of reference, and it's wonderful. I think it's a great way to think about things, and it's a real strong dose of medicine against consumerism, which is a never-ending ladder. You can never win with keeping up with consumerism and planned obsolescence and all that good stuff, because you've always got to go and get more. And so when you embrace minimalism and sort of essentialism, you realize that you already have everything that you need, and really more is not going to make you happier. And also, I think sometimes people are finding, to a frightening degree, how much shopping, even if that doesn't mean going to a store these days, that could mean just comparison shopping online, researching. People discover that a lot of their lives still revolve around that. Even the people who consider themselves not consumers, I think are discovering that. So I tried to eliminate some of that, and certainly reframed a lot of that. And I think it also spread over to my family to some extent, to my children to some extent. And my husband and I are on the same page in some things, like, for instance, with the car, which I'd love to get to a point of no car, but we've been with one car now for more than a decade. And at this point, he's the only one driving it. I am riding my bicycle everywhere. My boys are riding their bicycles and taking public transportation everywhere. So where am I going with this? The point is that it reset everything. It also ultimately had very long-ranging effects, which, of course, we're not going to say it's because of the method, but I think it's definitely a nice a nice thing happened after doing the method, which is that my life really, really changed. My thinking about myself really, really changed. I became an organized person, and I didn't feel bad about that, or I didn't feel like that was against my character. I've also done a lot of thinking, and I continue to do a lot of thinking around just there's a lot of philosophical thinking that I'm drawn to around personality and growth and wisdom and all those things. And I really think a lot of those things are more mutable than I used to think. And I've really started to question many beliefs and taboos in how I was raised. But that's sort of another thing. Except that, like I said, it did ultimately lead to a complete change of our financial circumstances from a lot of scarcity to basically abundance, a complete change of my financial intelligence and ability to save. And all of those things came out of minimalism and decluttering and the KonMari method. And you can see some of my videos on those topics. And ultimately, here's where I am now, several years afterwards. Oh, so eventually you're going to see, and I hope to show you very soon, my much promised basement, because that was the big thing that I achieved. Was I did the KonMari upstairs, and then eventually I did it downstairs, and then my son moved down there, and he's still a teenager, but now we have a bathroom that's fully finished, which is amazing. And actually his room is pretty finished. So it's getting there. So eventually I'm going to give you guys a reveal on what the basement looks like, because we're really happy with it. And that's something that's been so many years in the making. And that's another consequence of KonMari method, of decluttering, of valuing what we had and choosing what sparked joy. But the final point of this is I'm not interested in watching the Netflix at this moment. Not drawn to it, because basically the method worked and I'm past it. And I don't really need motivation to declutter. I never needed motivation to declutter, but I didn't really know how much you could achieve with decluttering before the KonMari method. And also I did start to have a realization that I was cleaning too much. And I mean, like I always say, you would think that as a result my house would be really clean, but no, it's just that everybody's making everything dirty, and then I was doing a lot of cleaning. And I still have to do a fair amount of cleaning, but ultimately I think you always have to question your priorities. And so eventually it worked well. It made me realize that I didn't want to spend my life cleaning, and I wanted to make sure that I was getting out and developing myself in other ways. And not that I hadn't been, but like I said, it was just a question of balance. It's also a question of your children and the ages of your children. So as your children grow, many of your household responsibilities will change, and that's wonderful. And so, ultimately the method worked. I was able to envision a new future. I was able to, develop a different sort of relationship to my house. I was able to get out, to travel, to change my financial situation, my professional situation, my businesses that I run, everything. So I have to give a lot of credit to the KonMari method. And ultimately, I would say go for it. Enjoy the results if it works for you. And just because you do it doesn't mean you have to become a KonMari consultant. That's a wonderful, I'm glad she's got that business going, and I hope it works out for her, because I think it definitely can help a lot of people. But I just was here to document my process, and it worked. So thanks for watching.